Hey guys, and welcome back to the podcast. So today's episode 13, and we're going to be chatting a little bit about different federations and different categories, and sort of going through the difference between all the different federations there are, all the different categories within bodybuilding. So yeah, just realised I forgot to say what the podcast is, but I feel like if you're listening to the podcast, you know what the podcast is.
Just look at the thumbnail. You'll know. You know what? There are so many categories, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like specifically within like the amateur federations, like there are so many that I genuinely can't even comprehend sometimes. But we thought it would be good because obviously I think we have a lot of first timers here. We got asked a couple of times actually on your NGL and on our Instagram page about it. And leading on from that, guys, if you aren't following our Instagram page, Anything Goes Poddy, then pause this motherfucking podcast right now, go onto Instagram and follow it, because we need as much support as obviously you can provide us. So we want to hit 100 within a week, and we're on 66. So we're not far off. So we get about 500, 600 views, right? Totally. So some of you fuckers are not following us.
You tell him.
Follow us.
Can you tell Sania is getting deeper into prep?
Put a lot of time into that Instagram.
Yeah, you did. You know what? I was actually so impressed with it. You sent it me. I was like, God, this is really good. I was like, how's she done this?
I had like it was Monday, wasn't it? So I had a day and I was like, Reese was working and I was like, I'm such a workaholic. I really just want to get this done. Because I was like, no, I'm not going to work on a Monday. And I was like, no, I don't class as a work. I can't enjoy it. And that's my issue.
It's not work. I'll just do it.
But yeah, Instagram done. But before we crack on, how are you doing?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me a really serious question then. No, I'm fine. I'm all good. I'm trying to like really enjoy the last few weeks of like not prep. You know what I mean?
I've said this to you twice. You've not even started prep yet and you've got prep brain.
Oh, I know. I'd always have it. I think it's just a thing. I'm trying to enjoy the last few weeks of off season because I'm like, I just want to really enjoy it and not like, because I feel like, you know, when you get really close to prep and you're just like, oh my God, I can't wait to prep, and you start getting excited. So I'm trying just not to get like that and just be like, just enjoy the last month of like being able to go out and do stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to just enjoy it and not wish the time away to start prep.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That is something that a lot of people do. And I feel like there's two people on the end of the spectrum. They either go out every single day going, I'm starting prep, I need to eat all this food.
Yeah.
Or they go, I'm starting prep, I need to be as optimal as I can, ready for when prep starts.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree with what you're doing. Just like every day is the same day, enjoy it. Make sure you go out for meals with family and friends within like, you know, moderation, and enjoy it, so that when you are in prep, you can be selfish whilst still have spent time. And I genuinely think I like your approach. Like me and Reese went on holiday to Canada for our prep, and it was the best thing I could have done, because I felt like by the end of Canada, I was like, oh, I've got all that out of my system now. 100% in now. But like we were still relatively on plan. Just every evening we'd go out for food because we're on holiday.
Yeah.
You're going on holiday.
I'm going on holiday on Monday. I know. Last minute, we literally booked it on Monday. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday. So we booked. Well, the reason we were waiting was because my passport expired. And I didn't think I was going to get my passport back. So we were like, we can't book anything because what if it doesn't come back? Like, and then we can't go. So we were just like, we're just going to have to wait till we get my passport back. And then we got it back. So we were like, right, let's just book it. Because I start prep on the 28th. So we were like, we want to be back. And I want like a couple of weeks of just like, you know, consistency before I start prep. So we were like, right, let's just go now. And then it's done. So yeah, week on holiday, all inclusive. Chill.
Friday.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go like and because I found this like island hopping one, and it was like Greek island hopping. I was like, oh yeah, but Will was like, no, I want to go and lie in a sunbed for a week and do nothing.
You know what? Like I get both sides. Like I can
Yeah.
do 3 days lying and doing fuck all and reading a book, and then it gets to the third day and I'm like, can we do something now?
Yeah. Yeah. But you can do like, we normally go on like boat trips or something. You can like do something in the middle.
Yeah.
Like it's all right. So yeah, we've got that, and then I'm having a week off like working as well, which will be so nice. So I feel like I'll come back and it'll be like full steam ahead prep mode then, which will be really good.
Hashtag prep mode.
I know. What about you? How's everything going?
Good. I didn't actually tell you this. Refeed this weekend.
Ooh, exciting.
So 400 total carbs every day,
Yeah.
which is very exciting. And I'm working in Birmingham in the studio. So I was like, oh my God, thank God. Because last week I was flagging so much, like with my clients, that I was stuttering. I was like saying head instead of lats. Like I was like, I'm so sorry. I genuinely felt fine, but my cognitive
Yeah.
function was not there. But refeed, which is good. Not long left. Actually, I'm going to announce it on here, not my shows, but I am
Oh,
announcing my shows when I go see Tom next week on Friday.
how are you?
So
All
we
of them or just the
just my first one,
okay.
and maybe my second one. But yeah, because I feel like if my clients do want to come see me, then they have the opportunity to see me, and I feel like
Yeah.
it's enough time for that people not to have an opinion of
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
can just enjoy the process with me rather
Yeah.
than twat about it and saying you shouldn't be doing that and that kind of thing. And I think during my peak week, I think I'm going to take some time away from social media. So I'm basically going to go, here you go. I'm this many weeks out, and I'm really just going to try and not update you guys, but kind of just go, right, now I'm not going to show you anything because I've done it. I'll
Yeah.
show day or the day before kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm really
Yeah.
excited.
I'm excited as well.
I just can't wait to I'm picking up my bikini on Tuesday. Bikinis
Ooh.
on Tuesday. So yeah, things are exciting. Things are going well. So yeah. Very.
Amazing. I was saying to you before, I feel like it's gone so quick. Like, when you're on prep, I always feel like it goes so slow. And then I was like, God, I can't believe how fast it's gone. I feel like it was only not long ago that you started prep.
You know what though? It's because most preps are like
Years long.
25, 30 weeks
Yeah.
long. But because I started in such a decent condition, we didn't need that long. So I've only been in prep 13 weeks on Monday. So it's
Yeah.
really not been long. It's like half the time that I spent in my first prep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're doing how long for your
20.
yeah, so
Yeah.
like
Well, it'll be 25 by the end because it's the 5 weeks in between the and the worlds.
yeah. So it's like
Oh.
I'm trying not to say it without saying when I'm competing, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
my competitive season within prep is definitely not going to be that long in comparison. Like mine was like 30 weeks.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
ridiculous. It's half a year. It's more than half a year.
that's mad, isn't it?
But yeah, that's enough about me. Shall we go on to the topic? Do you want to start?
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited for this because I feel like when I first started competing, I had no clue. And I was like, what do all these letters mean? Like, how on earth do I know what I'm doing? And I feel like it's only when you've been in it a while that you sort of get to grips and you've been to watch a few shows and you're like, okay, this is what this category looks like. So I guess if we start with federations, because I guess the most popular federations now are probably NPC, Two Bros, PCA. I'd probably say the most well-known ones.
Yeah, and then we could maybe touch upon the pure elite side, just to kind of an NFM UK side,
Yeah, and FitX.
just to kind of say like, look, there's bodybuilding shows, and then there's like bodybuilding / pageantry shows, and transformation shows.
Yeah.
So many shows.
Yeah.
So should we start with, I feel like most of our audience is going to be PCA.
Yeah, probably, because that's obviously where we've come from.
Yeah. So should we start from like bottom up?
Yeah, let's start from there and let's work up, because there's multiple breakdowns of each like category as well, which is like, so because I think even going from like PCA, someone asked me the other day, they were like, well, which figure in PCA is the same as figure in two rows then? And I was like, I can see how this is just a complete minefield.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Really does just depend. So let's start with bikini. Shall I start on that because I'm going
Yeah.
and then you do figure?
Yeah, you go through bikini.
So bikini essentially is the smallest category. Now that doesn't mean you don't have any muscle. That doesn't mean that you are small, but out of all of the other categories, it is the category that you need least muscle for. And this is why generally quite a lot of new people to bodybuilding will kind of say that they're into bikini. Now within bikini, what they look for is balance throughout your physique. Within the X frame, they look for symmetry, and they look for stage presence, and they look for condition, yes, but not striations, and all that kind of stuff. So they look for fullness mainly and shape. So for example, with the X frame, obviously your delts still need to be capped. You still need to have a relatively decent amount of muscle maturity within bikini. However, it is to kind of like a lesser point within PCA, and it is definitely a softer look in comparison to a lot of the other categories. However, I would say that toned figure and PCA bikini, the condition and kind of muscle can kind of intertwine. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it depends on the person as well, because like if we look at, for example, like Shannon White, who won
she wouldn't be able to do bikini.
She couldn't, she was toned figure, she did exceptionally well in toned figure, would not go in bikini.
And
so I think
structure.
Yeah, because of her shape. And it's like what we said before, right? It's like there's such a difference between what one person looks like in the category to another, because you could get, it's like even going back to when like the difference between like you and Shannon, for example, like both really well suited to the category but look completely different. So I think it's really difficult to say like how much muscularity is needed, because it's like what suits you the best.
Yeah, it's also like within the posing element, it's if I put Shannon in a bikini pose, she'd look well out of place. She just wouldn't look right. The bikini pose wouldn't suit her, and it wouldn't suit what PCA look for. For me, for example, I'm a bit of a hybrid. I've got shape to fit into bikini, and I've got shape to fit into toned figure only. So with bikini, we've got standard bikini, which is your juniors, your seniors, or masters, sorry, not seniors.
Do you want to go through the ages do you know the ages?
Yeah, so junior is, I think it's like you have to be 16 to 23. And you have to be 23 by the time you do the British, if you are qualifying for the British. So you can't qualify as 23 and then expect to go into a junior if you turn 24 in between that time. Masters is 35 plus, and then standard bikini is anything in between that, so 23 to 35. Now they do it in height classes usually, small, medium, and large, or small, medium, and tall. And that just depends on the caliber of how many girls there are. Then we have trained bikini. Now, this is where it gets confusing.
Yeah, this does get confusing.
Because I would say, personally, trained bikini, they have a lot more condition, lot more condition than toned figure and standard bikini. And I would personally say they have a lot more muscle than toned figure as well.
Yeah, agree.
Muscle maturity. So it's basically for hybrid people who have a lot of muscle but suit bikini poses and don't want to go into figure.
It's really confusing when you actually say it, but in my head I know what it looks like.
Yeah, it's like a lot more muscle, a lot more condition, but they don't want to go into figure because of their structure, suits bikini.
Yeah. It's like you get a lot of the time people can cross over between athletic figure and train bikini.
Yes.
And it's like similar conditioning, similar muscle to athletic figure, but maybe
a little
not.
bit less, I'd say, than athletic. Like basically bigger than bikini, but the in-between stage between toned figure and athletic figure.
Yeah.
In bikini poses.
Yeah, in bikini poses, yeah.
Honestly,
Brilliant.
that bikini done. But the main thing they focus on, what I would say, is overall stage presence, symmetry, and muscle maturity in regards to X-frame as well. So if you are someone who essentially has maybe only done 2 years worth of training, you might find that bikini is the best suited for you because of how much muscle you might have grown. However, that really does depend on your genetic ability, but that's usually the baseline.
Yes. Yeah, agree. I think sometimes, like, I, for example, went straight in on toned figure. Obviously, you did as well.
But I could have gone into bikini. That's what crossover is. Like, I could have done first season in bikini, but my structure, Tom was like, do toned figure.
Yeah.
So again, it's confusing. Do you want to go figure?
Yeah, so PCA figure, I'll go through that first. You've basically got toned, athletic, and trained. And
they did have in the universe that you competed in, because there was some big ass freaking girls, they had bodybuilding.
Was it like physique or something?
Physique, that's it. They had physique. That's not usual, but they did have it.
They basically made another category.
No, because these girls were freaking huge though.
Can you remember one of them got on stage at the universe in athletic, and I was like, what?
Yeah, get out. You're way too big for this category.
They did move her up. I think they moved her straight into, I think she was the physique, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, mad. But essentially the difference with the 3 figure categories is the muscularity and the condition. It basically just, it's like the same general shape, you know, the X-frame shapes, like narrow waist, obviously like V-taper. I think the main thing with figure as well is like PCA, I think, tend to like rounded delts.
They love the bar delts.
Yeah.
They love the anabolic delts. Like,
they love round shoulders, basically.
That's why they're a non-tested fed, because that is the look that they look for in like the bigger, in most categories.
Yeah, so basically round shoulders, obviously V-taper, kind of good lats, narrow waist, round glutes. Obviously, like, especially as you go up, because with like toned figure, for example, I think you can still get away with being a little bit on the softer side. Whereas obviously once you go into athletic, they want you to have like separations.
Day, isn't it, between the two?
Yeah.
Athletic, like night and day.
Yeah, big difference. But they don't want you to be like striated, but, you know, just having, you know, a bit more definition.
Slight dryness.
Yeah, like more lines, especially through like your lower half, I think. I think that's probably the main thing I would say between toned and athletic is like the lower half, and just generally more size.
Yeah, generally I would say more size, and not to the point where you would get a paper cut and you die condition, but like to the point where you're like relatively skinned. I would say the conditioning is actually fairly similar in trained figure. It's just with trained figure girls, you're massive.
Yeah, they're big. I think there's more of a difference between toned and athletic than athletic to trained. Do you?
Yeah. And I'd also say, no, what was I going to say? Don't worry, can't remember. I'm done.
Yeah, basically, X-frame just get bigger and leaner as you go kind of through the categories.
And I remember muscle maturity and density as you go up the categories. So I think that's another reason why you went up in categories, because you had more denser, obviously more muscle, but denser, mature muscle. And do you want to explain what I mean by that?
Yeah, so it's just in terms of like you can, I don't know the way to explain it, but I always think if you it just like the fullness and like the roundness of the muscle is such, and like how thick the muscle looks, you know.
Yeah.
So like
I
from
carry on.
sorry, you go.
I was gonna say it's like the way I think a good way to explain it, I explained it this once, is like when you don't have muscle maturity, it's like air in a balloon. It's there, but there's not much, you can poke it and there's like not much hardness in it. But then you put like cream or something or water and
That's a good way to explain it.
yeah, like you've got the muscle, but it's just getting filled with substance, and it's getting harder and it's getting denser, and now it's almost like not rock solid, but a lot harder.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that comes with time.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
not just
size.
Yeah. Like time, and also within PCA, I'm not gonna hide it, but also anabolic usage in terms of so yeah, that's it. I think figure is an easier way because it literally just goes up and up and up in every category, in every kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's pretty much it, to be fair, for PCA. They're pardon?
Wellness.
Oh yeah, wellness. I completely forgot. They've just brought that in there recently.
Yeah, they have. They have, to be fair. That's a hard category. I really struggle with my clients because a lot of us girls in our off season, we look like we have big legs.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we have muscle.
A lot of people mistake that, don't they? It's like I think, oh yeah, like I can do wellness, like I've got really big legs and big glutes, whereas actually a lot of girls hold a lot of body fat around the legs, the glutes, the hips, and when you lose that fat, there's not much muscle there.
Yeah, literally, like basically wellness is bikini conditioning, bikini shape, but your lower half is predominantly, and when I say predominantly, I mean not just slightly bigger than your upper body, I mean ridiculously bigger than your upper body. And sometimes I have moved a lot of my posing girls and said to them, we can do wellness, but you would be more competitive in bikini because you're just not quite there yet. Yes, you've got good legs. I'm not saying that you don't, but you're just not wellness. Like it's that crossover point where girls generally have good legs, but they're just not big enough for wellness, but they want to compete this year. And I'm like, look, if you took a year and a half off, got a little bit bigger and then competed, you'd be wellness. But because you want to compete now, you just look small against these girls who genuinely are wellness.
Yeah. I think it's hard in PCA as well because it is quite a new category. So I feel like someone could win in wellness that isn't wellness.
Because they don't, like, I know Dan Wellburn put a story about this and was like, don't come to a show looking 12 weeks out because you're not getting lean, your legs aren't big enough. And that, it genuinely infuriates me. I want to just people to take me, for example. I wanted to go into wellness and it's something that I've been looking to doing, but I'm realistic with myself and I was absolutely happy because I knew I wanted to compete this year to take a step back and go, I'm not wellness. I'm going to respect the category and understand that. And no one can say that what I'm doing is wrong because I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. And I feel like people just really have to take a step back and go, I'm going to respect the category. Like, it's, for example, I would never go into athletic figure because I'm not there. So it's like, why do people think that they can go into wellness? And it's just because it's the new fad and it's the new trend. And because all of us girls look like we have bigger legs in an off season. But then you can aim towards wellness. But my approach would be, right, okay, if it gets to you being 6 weeks out and you're just not big enough, doesn't matter, change into bikini. No one's going to care. Like,
exactly.
It expects you more to do that than you to go into a wellness stage not looking wellness, because it's like, how, like, you know that it's not there, like, come on. And it's coaches as well. Coaches are going, yeah, you can do this, and it's like, do you not understand the category? Like, you give the client high expectations of a category that generally they don't fit into.
Yeah, and they might get there. It might just maybe take, rather than competing now, it might just be, okay, let's just wait a couple of years, like build up your kind of muscle density through your lower half and then go into wellness.
This is exactly what I say to my clients. So if they say like, oh, I'm looking to compete this year, I'm like, okay, this is your timeline. Do I think you could do well in wellness? Absolutely. If you allow yourself time.
Yeah.
But if you're so set on competing this year, I either go, I'd wait to see how lean you get. And if you're just not there, you're just not there. We'll do bikini poses. But if you're there, sound.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I was just thinking as well, do you want to go through the differences in the presentation and the posing briefly? Because obviously, like, figure has the routine, bikini has like the walk. So do you want to kind of go through the differences? Because that might just quickly, just to touch on it.
So every federation that you go into, you will have your own time on stage. So I know a lot of people steer away from like PCA figure because of the routine. However, in every single category, in every single federation, you will have time on your own on that stage. Now, with wellness and bikini, you have an individual eye walk. So that's where you come from the back of the stage, whichever side you're on, you'll walk to the back into the middle, you'll hit a few poses, and then you'll walk on forwards and hit a few poses. You don't choose your music for this. This is just whatever the DJ decides to play. With figure, it is a 16-second routine where you choose the music and you choreograph yourself. Now, I do just want to say this, and you'll probably agree, is it really doesn't fucking matter whether you're shit or whether you do flips. Like, really couldn't matter.
And also, it's not even judged, so it doesn't really matter at all.
Exactly. Like, I fucked up both times, like, so bad. I was there like, what am I doing, what am I doing, what am I doing?
You can just wing it, right?
Yeah, you can. And I say to my clients, like, you're idolizing these girls who are doing flips in the nicest way possible. I think it's cool, but their photos are going to turn out shit because they're doing some flips in the air, and this photographer's like, I don't even fucking know where to screenshot. The main reason, right, the eye walk in PCA and the routine is not judged. The reason why they do it within PCA is to give the judges time to kind of collate what's going on, but also it allows you to have stage photos on your own whilst you're on that stage. So if you're someone who's not dancey and wants to go into figure, but that's what steers them away, you can literally just hit poses in a really nice way to some music. Like, it's not doesn't have to be a dance routine. It can literally be you hitting poses.
It can be so basic, like literally, it could be a quarter turns, and that will be fine.
Yeah, and no, like, I promise you now, no one's, unless you're an ex-dancer and genuinely want to do some dance stuff, then do it. But 9 times out of 10, like, no one actually cares unless it's like mind smoking blowing. I mean, if you mess up, people will go, keep going, let's go. Like,
yeah, everyone's really nice anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, everyone's gonna egg you on. What else is there? That's it. I walk in, but with two bros, not that we've gone into it. Please note, you do get judged on those aspects, but with PCA you don't.
Yeah, because I think in two bros, obviously you don't do a routine with figure in two bros. It is like a walk again.
Yeah.
With like the poses.
We can go on to two bros now if you want.
Yeah, let's go on to two bros because that's PCA pretty much done, isn't it?
Yeah. So do you want to start with like the bigger gals?
Yeah, so we've got obviously I mean I'm not as clued up with two bros as PCA because obviously I've only ever done PCA. But obviously you've got physique, you've got women's physique in two bros, haven't you? Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, so you've got bodybuilding, big girls. You've got physique.
Yeah. And then you've got obviously figure, bikini. Yeah.
And then bikini, and then wellness.
Yes. Yeah.
What would I personally would say athletic and trained bikini, athletic and trained figure could go into figure two bros. But if you're a trained bikini girl and absolutely fucking massive, you could also go into physique. But I would say athletic is more so towards two bros.
Yeah. I definitely don't think toned figure with PCA could do, well, they couldn't. Toned figure PCA could not do figure, two bros figure. And I even think like athletic, you have to be pushing
You have
pushing
to be
fit,
big in athletic, not like. But then
just
again,
in athletic.
two bros go for shape as well, but it's
Yeah.
more. I'd say it's more condition in figure than it is
Yeah, I agree.
in PCA.
Yeah. I also think as well, two bros figure tend to go for like a lower like lat taper. I always think like,
Yes, because
you know what I mean? They like low lats.
they like because the reason why is because you wing out more.
Yeah.
So like your midsection looks teeny tiny, and if your lat insertions are here, you're gonna be out here. Now, if your lat insertions are up here, you've just got a little bit to kind of
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah. Because my lats are like super high. Like mine don't come very low down.
They're not.
Well, I know who they
The
do.
thing is though, like you never know. The thing is, right, girls, when it comes to competing, Marnie Fit actually said this really, really well on her show day video. You could be the perfect poster girl for your category, let's say bikini. You could be perfect. But if the girls next to you, let's say you're the right conditioning, blah, blah, blah. If the girls next to you are not conditioned, you're going to look too lean for the category in comparison to these other girls.
Right. Yeah.
If these girls come up fucking shredded and you're actually what they want, you're going to look so much softer than these girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even if you bring the poster girl, like whatever.
Yeah. Package.
It just depends on also, unfortunately, who turns up on the day.
Yeah.
Like also,
I thought about it like
yeah, like
that.
your physique can change in a visual aspect depending on who you're standing next to, what lights, how your makeup is, how your hair is. Like you've just got to, and also like if someone's bigger than you, you're going to look small. If someone's smaller than you, you're going to look too big. So obviously not to major extremes. If you are legitimately perfect, then they will most likely choose you. But like you've got to take that into consideration as well. So for example, with you, if you were to go into two bros figure and then you were up against a girl who had a really low V taper with her lats, she might win. But if you're up against other people who have high, you're not going to look out of place. You're going to look
100%. It's really tough with that, isn't it? Because like, I completely get what you're saying.
Bodybuilding is so like, what's the word?
I don't know.
You know, like
what's going on your prep head right now.
You know, no, you know when it's like
subjective.
That's it. See what I'm on about. Don't give me this prep brain shit. You're the one who did it, not me.
Oh, it is subjective though. So I think like, I don't know what I was going to say then. Yeah.
See?
What's that?
See, you've got prep brain. Don't.
No, I'm sympathizing.
Don't give me shit. So what else? So we've obviously got bodybuilding, big girls, physique, big girls, figure, big girls. So like Leah. And then we've got wellness, which is literally dead on dead, the exact same as PCA. And then I would say bikini. Right. Bear with me on this.
Okay.
Bikini is similar to PCA bikini in terms of condition. You need a little bit more condition for two bros, I'd say, than PCA. Shape, similar. But when it comes to posing, two bros do not give a shit about your back. They don't want to see your lap.
Yeah.
They don't want to see that. PCA.
That's covered, isn't it?
Yeah. PCA, as you know, they're like lats. Give me lats. Give me delts. Two bros bikini is like
arse.
Yeah.
All I care about is your glutes and your hamstrings, and that's it.
Yeah, glutes, hamstrings, and your shoulders.
Yeah.
That's it. That's because technically to them, that's the V taper, the X frame, that's the X frame. You doubt, cool. If you've got a slight incline you need some lats to create that insert. But like you said, it's literally arse and glutes and hammies, and more so on the stage presence as well within two bros. And also overall. So I think throughout all the overall look.
Yeah.
So who was it? Oh yeah. Oh my God. So Phoebe Goodwin actually told me why Marnie won her pro card in comparison to the girl who was in the middle for a very, very long time. Basically, it's because the girl won from the back, but the way that she had her hair, the way her hair was, it just didn't look right with her physique, and her front pose was just off. Her overall look, her physique was good, but her overall look in that front pose just wasn't as strong as Marnie's. Marnie's overall look, and just basically it was like Marnie had like, let's say 70%, 70%, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70. The other girl was like 90, 70, 70, 50, 70,
Right,
70.
okay, yeah.
So, and Marnie, basically, she was obviously winning,
Yeah.
but there are certain attributes like hair not looking neat and tidy, makeup not really flowing with her look,
Yeah.
slight different posing that just wasn't making the physique flow, which is what Marnie had. So with figures, and I think in figure as well, like in all those aspects, that is such a factor that isn't as much of the factor in PCA. Like PCA,
yeah, I don't think PCA, as long as you look nice, like I don't think PCA really care what your hair and your makeup look like.
as long as you look put together.
Yeah.
Tubo's very different.
Yeah, so yeah, interesting. And also obviously with the posing from Tubo's figure to PCA, with PCA you can basically pose however you want. It's like pose from the front and pose from the side, pose from the back. You can have your feet where you want, you know, you don't have to do standard front back relaxed poses. Whereas figure, and this is what puts me off doing Tubos, because the posing, obviously the physique as well, I feel like I'm not there yet, but in terms of the posing, it's like just your standard, like there's no overhead posing, it's just arms by side, relaxed.
Yeah, physique and bodybuilding, you do have hands over head stuff.
Yeah,
but figure you don't. You get your eye walk where you can be a little bit more like, but yeah, generally it's just, there's not really much personality besides bikini. When you go from figure upwards, there's not really much personality. It is more physique based.
Yeah, so that's just something to think about as well, like what posing you see, what posing you like if you want to do obviously like a routine, or if you want to do like just your, you know, comparison in your walks. It just depends like what you want to do.
Yeah, I agree.
That's pretty much two ways, isn't it? Nice and easy.
Do you want to briefly talk about so FitX and UKDFBA, blah, all that generally side, I think very similarly to PCA.
Yeah, I think FitX and NFM UK are probably pretty similar to PCA. I would say PCA is more established.
100%.
But I think the categories, I'm pretty sure I looked into FitX and NFM in UK a bit last year, and I'm pretty sure there's like tone figure. I think one of them, I can't remember because I was looking at it last year. I'm pretty sure one of them is like tone figure, and then I'm sure I can't remember if it's FitX or NFM UK, but it's like tone figure and then figure. And I think Will messaged the guy that runs it, and he said like the straight figure class is like athletic figure. So I think it's like called slightly different names, but I think the categories are like tone figure, athletic figure, etc.
I think FitX is just figure.
Right.
And then I think NFM UK have, I think it's that way. Because I know NFM UK, this is actually good leading on to stuff. NFM UK are very much a hybrid in certain categories of bodybuilding focus, and then they have things like beach body.
Yeah.
Which do you want to talk more about do you know much about the pageant?
A little bit. So you've got like WBFF, haven't you? That I remember when I first started competing, and that was like the main federation. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And it's like they have like a night section and everything. Like they have a section and it's like a dress section.
Yeah, so does NFM UK, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah,
so it's basically like a beauty pageant, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, like there's I don't know how really to word it without offending anyone, but yeah, it is very much like a beauty pageant with muscle and condition. But
I don't feel like I know enough about it to say much about it, to be honest.
Neither do I, but I know that there are categories out there because I have a few clients who have like a transformation, category, which is like, it's not just losing weight, it's if you've been really ill and you've transformed out of that and your body's changed, or if you've actually gained weight, for example, if you have anorexia, blah blah. But there's also like pageant style, so if you want to be, you still train, you still want to show off your muscle, but it's in more of a sexy kind of like less boom boom
Yeah.
way.
I love that demo.
You love what?
The demo.
Thank you. That is the kind of, if you want hybrid, that's probably your best shout. Now, don't ask us on categories because there's about a million.
Yeah, I'm not clued up enough for that.
No, neither am I. But if you do know you don't want to be like bodybuilding, but you want to be bodybuilding,
great.
I've lost my mind. I'm hungry.
I know. Ignore it. She's chatting rubbish.
You want to go purely, and then certain categories within NFM UK, and I'm pretty sure there's another one. I know you said WBFF, but there's another one I think as well.
Yeah, there's a few that are like a bit smaller, isn't there? But you've also got then UK DFBA, which is probably, I'll say, the most established natural federation, and then BMBF, and that on then leads into obviously like WMBF, which is like your worlds. So that's obviously like your tested ones. I think in them it's bikini and just straight figure.
Bikini, just straight figure, just straight physique, just straight bodybuilding. But I would say, don't compare your physique to non-tested federations.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, and I don't want to offend anyone, but generally, a physique athlete in a natural federation, if they were to do PCA, wouldn't go into physique.
No.
PCA, they'd probably go into lower end athletic.
Yeah, because I know, for example, like Nicola that does physique, I think she looks similar to maybe athletic.
Yeah, it's hard because just because they're not enhanced, they generally, unless they're genetically gifted, they generally, usually, I'm not saying everyone is, will be smaller. So the sizing is slightly different. So for example, Hannah's health, she is figure, but wanted to go into physique, but she just wasn't, I don't think she was big enough. But I'm not sure. And then, but I know, like, I'm just trying to, so for example, Elle's
Fitness. Like
Meg, yeah, no, Elle's Fitness was in figure, but is now going into physique, but she wouldn't go into physique for PCA. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's very hard to kind of
crossover.
Yeah, in the same category. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And I think with that as well, I think the posing is very similar. I'm not sure about bikini, but I know in figure the posing is very similar in like UK DFBA to what it is in like two bros. It's like your standard like arms down, front, back, side, relaxed poses.
Yeah, I will say PCA is one of a kind. In terms of, there are very few federations who do compulsory poses, aka these bits. But the majority of like FitX, UK DFBA, and a few others, can't remember on the top of my head, don't actually do this side pose or hands overhead. A lot of them do the standard figure. So you just have to pay attention to figuring out. I have a few figure girls who are doing like 4 different shows, and they have 4 different using criterias, and you just have to kind of take that into consideration. So if you have federations in mind, speak to a posing coach and ask them how long they would recommend, because learning one federation is hard. Then learning 4 different styles, although they can sometimes cross over. So for example, one of my girls, she has a figure routine, PCA posing. She has a standard figure posing, but then also WMBF have their own compulsory poses that you must hit. Then she has another one, which is like your standard figure posing, but a T walk. And then she has another one, which is standard figure posing, but an I walk. I was like, when she told me, I was like, yeah, it's going to take some time.
If it's your first time, I would try and pick federations that cross over with your posing, so you only have to learn one style of posing.
Or like just 2 different, like 2's fine. 2's pretty easy if you give yourself like a year and a half. But like crazy. But luckily she's been with me since like a year ago, and she's competing in September, so she's had a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's what I would say in a
Bit
nutshell.
redacted, isn't it?
Yeah, that's everything. So hopefully that's helped a few of you guys. If you have any questions and you're like, I just don't know, I'm sure we don't mind. Do you mind?
Yeah. No, I don't mind.
Yes, I do.
Yes, do not message me.
Do not message me.
Oh,
But yeah,
no.
it helped a few people.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I'd had a podcast like this when I was getting into competing, because I had absolutely no clue. And you know what? Today I put a post on Instagram today. I was going through all like my bodybuilding stuff, and I was looking at like my first photos. I found a video, and it's like, you know, when you've got a really old video and it's like it won't download from iCloud. That's how old it is. And you can't see the video because it's not downloaded, but you can see it's like blurry. And even with it being blurry, you can see how horrific my posing is. And I showed Will earlier, and we're like pissing ourselves at it. And it's on. I look back and was like, it was at Body Power in 2018. That's the first ever show I did, right? It was the UK UP one, and it's awful.
Can you send it me, please? I won't send it anymore.
I'll show it you after.
Yeah, please show me. Oh my god. But yeah, you know what? Leah's a good poser now. So as you can see, it just takes time, and you have to allow yourself time. I was a shit poser too. But I don't think, I'm hoping I wasn't as bad as Leah.
Mine was awful. It was all right by the time I did my PCA show, which was the second one. It had tightened up a bit, but it was horrendous at the start.
Love that.
1 out of 10.
Oh God. Right. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Again, please like, subscribe, whatever. Support us, follow us.
Tag us.
And tag us, yes. We had a really good attraction from our last podcast, so we appreciate you a lot. So thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.